This is the most down-to-earth farmer I have ever seen. When he is reincarnated, a deity tells him he can ask for any one wish, but Jack only wants to farm the land, and the more remote the place, the better. So the deity immediately makes a call to the god of agriculture. After getting the other's approval, the deity first grants Jack a body immune to all illness. Then he gives him a universal farming tool that can transform in any way he imagines. Not only does he never feel tired no matter how hard he works, even if he hits extremely hard soil or stubborn roots. After he breaks through it, the earth becomes soft and loose. But now is no time to celebrate, because he still hasn't solved the problem of water and food. What's more, this is another world. It wouldn't be strange to run into monsters or worse. After exploring a little, Jack soon arrives at a clearing with an open view. He sees a thick, towering tree in the middle of the forest, a perfect spot to set up a base. The only drawback is there's no river or pond nearby, but that doesn't stop him. He just transforms the universal tool into a shovel and starts digging straight down. After all, it doesn't cost him any energy, but soon he's in for a surprise. If he digs any deeper, he won't be able to climb back out. After thinking it over, Jack decides to change his approach and dig at a slope. Maybe the gods are smiling on him, because in the end, he actually strikes water. With his water supply secured, his next task is to clear the surrounding area of obstacles. He plans to turn this place into farmland eventually, so he transforms the tool into an axe. He's never chopped down a tree before, but he figures you chop one side first, then the other, so the tree falls away from you and doesn't cause injury. He gets right to work. Damn, Jack is totally shocked. The farming tool from the gods is unbelievably powerful, but now that the tree is down, he might as well process it further with a machete. The work goes smoothly. It's as easy as slicing through soft tofu, and moving the wood is no trouble at all. Before long, he has a stack of lumber, just enough to build a small wooden cabin. Before he knows it, the sun is starting to set. Jack realizes he has no light source. He quickly tries to summon a flashlight or a lighter, but for some reason, it doesn't work. The good news is, after many attempts, Jack finally manages to create a magnifying glass. The bad news is, by then the sun has already set. Left with no choice, he spends the night in a hollowed-out tree trunk. While he's at it, he uses a wood file to make a set of wooden utensils. If you're wondering why everything is so bright at night, it might be because there are two moons in the sky. The next day, Jack uses the magnifying glass to start a fire, then clears more of the surrounding trees. After all that work, for the first time in this new world, Jack feels hungry. He's about to go look for food, but food comes to him instead. In a moment of urgency, Jack swings his hoe at the creature's head. Surprisingly, the part he hit turns into a pile of soil. Luckily, the rest of the animal is usable. After eating and drinking, nature calls. Jack doesn't waste any time. He builds a toilet right away. It has all the functions: storage, ventilation, and cleaning. But when he actually uses it, he realizes he forgot about privacy, so he quickly puts up walls around it. Wow, the toilet is even nicer than where he sleeps. With his basic needs met, Jack can finally focus on farming. But what he never expected is that the universal tool has another amazing ability. When he's tilling the soil, if he pictures what he wants to plant in his mind, even if he doesn't put seeds in the ground, by the next day, sprouts will appear. Even the growth rate is incredibly fast. Just like that, he solves the problem of a sustainable food supply. Next, Jack puts up a fence around the area and digs a trench outside the fence. This not only keeps wild rabbits from damaging the crops, but also gives him a chance to add some protein now and then. A few more days pass, and Jack's shelter is starting to look decent. He's also finished building his own house. Even though it looks pretty much like the toilet, it's still better than sleeping in a tree trunk. One day, just as Jack is about to farm as usual, he notices two injured little creatures lying outside his base. Sensing that they mean no harm, Jack lets them in and feeds them some leftover wild boar meat. He's loved dogs since he was little, and dogs are a farmer's best friend, so he really hopes the two will stay. But soon he realizes something's up. The female looks like she's about to give birth. Seeing this, Jack not only gives up his own house for her, but also kindly lights a fire by the entrance. He himself spends the night back in the tree hollow. The next day, the she-wolf gives birth to 4 pups. Jack still mistakes them for dogs. To celebrate, he brings 2 premium cuts of wild boar. Maybe sensing Jack's kindness, the parents decide not to leave after the birth, making the cabin their home. So Jack builds another house next to it and gives the dogs names. The male is Shadow, the female is Snowy, and the pups are Shadow 2, Shadow 3, Shadow 4, and Shadow 5. From then on, everyone has their own role. Shadow hunts outside, Snowy guards the home, and Jack, all he has to do is farm and harvest. Even though life in this other world is pretty comfortable, he still feels like something's missing. Time passes, and the 4 young shadows have grown quite a bit. With their help, he won't get lost in the forest, so Jack finally discovers the river he's been hoping for, about 2.5 miles from his base. He decides to build a water channel to bring water to his fields, but because it's a big project that requires going back and forth, he cleverly builds a toilet by the river. Thinking ahead about long-term food storage, Jack plans to clear more of the forest, to plant rapeseed and wheat. That way, he can make oil and flour later. Because of this, his farmland expands into 2 sections, though he expands his exploration range, and finally finds a water source. Upstream, there's a small waterfall. Jack decides to build a canal to bring running water to his home, but the round trip takes an hour, which is quite exhausting. Being a civilized person, he builds a restroom along the way, so he doesn't have to worry about monster attacks, while answering nature's call. To make moving soil easier, he transforms the universal tool into a wheelbarrow. With this, efficiency improves greatly, but he overlooks one critical problem. The terrain is uneven, so the wheelbarrow tips over easily when he goes too fast. As the saying goes, to get rich, first build roads. Such a big project is really tough for one person. The top priority now is to store more food for the winter. Back home, he plants rapeseed and wheat, so he'll have more food options later. Sometime later, later, Jack starts to feel the chill. Looking into the distance, the mountain peaks are already covered in snow. His thin clothes are no longer enough to keep him warm. He thinks of making a coat from giant rabbit fur, but because he stored the hides improperly, they've rotted and smell terrible. Wearing them is out of the question, so he focuses on storing firewood and food. Just then, Shadow brings him a new companion, a large, agile spider. Not only can it weave silk into fabric, it can also turn useless hides into something valuable. With the spider's help, Jack finally wears a rabbit fur coat. Not only that, even his blankets and curtains are taken care of. The comfort of his home improves rapidly. He names the spider Webby because it looks so small at first. Winter arrives quickly. Snow falls heavily every day. The spider seems to be hibernating. Jack has prepared well, but he still feels uneasy. If the snow keeps falling, the cabin might collapse under the weight. Winter nights are also the hardest to endure. Loneliness clouds his mind. He can barely remember the last time he spoke to another person. If this continues, he might even lose the ability to speak. Sometime later, the snow melts, and spring returns. But strangely, as soon as he steps outside, he sees the Paw Patrol lined up at the door. It seems they've come to say goodbye. Watching the dogs he raised all leave, Jack can't help but feel sad. But soon they return, with even more dogs. It turns out they went out to find mates. To his surprise, the big spider has also given birth to many spiderlings. Seeing the dogs in pairs makes Jack a little envious. Just then, the big spider suddenly sets off an alarm. Thinking a dangerous monster has appeared, Jack follows Shadow deep into the forest. After walking a long time, he sees a white-haired girl, barely clothed. The animals have surrounded her, and she's trembling with fear. Thrilled to see another human, Jack walks over excitedly and offers her clothes, but the girl bites him on the neck. It turns out she's a vampire. After drinking his blood, the girl returns to her original form, and her body grows larger, but the dogs attack her again. Once attacked, she shrinks back to a smaller size. She begs Jack to call off the dogs. She explains that she bit him only to regain strength. When her energy is too low, she can't maintain her body or clothes. Even though he was bitten, Jack feels fine, so he lets her drink again. After drinking, she returns to her normal appearance. He brings her back home. When she sees Jack's crops, she's overjoyed. Jack picks a tomato and hands it to her. After one taste, she can't stop praising it. Next, Jack takes her to pick corn and pull up radishes. The two of them have a wonderful time together. Every time the house spider sounded the alarm, a beautiful woman would mysteriously appear in the forest. He was already used to this kind of situation, because the last one who had been tied up, a vampire, was now his wife. Seeing the woman asking for help, Jack quickly went over and untied her. He wanted to check on her injuries, but the angel simply raised one finger, and the next moment, her wounds began healing on their own. Even her torn clothes instantly returned to their original state. Just then, Jack noticed Jenny trying to slip away quietly. Seeing this, the angel suddenly turned serious, yelling at her to give up and surrender without resistance. Perhaps because her tone was too arrogant, the shadow dog stepped in again, and taught her a firm lesson. Back at the base, Jack finally learned that the angel had come to capture Jenny, because she kept researching strange potions, and would blow up nobles' castles whenever she was in a bad mood. But Jenny insisted it was all a misunderstanding. Watching them argue, Jack remarked how well the two seemed to get along. As the conversation continued, the angel grew curious. She wondered exactly what kind of relationship Jenny and Jack had.
私の旦那様。旦那様？
As soon as she asked, not only was the angel shocked by the answer, but Jack was also left stunned. After all, it was the first time he had been referred to that way. But there was an even bigger surprise. Jenny actually invited the angel to move in with them. Jack had no objections to adding such a beautiful woman to their home, but the angel was completely caught off guard. Before she could respond, Jenny pulled her over to Jack's vegetable garden, and gave her a full tour, including introductions to all of Jack's pets. But the moment she saw them, the angel fainted on the spot, just as Jenny had expected. She herself had been just as frightened when she first arrived. Next, Jenny invited the angel to help out in the fields. With Jack's land being so large, it was tough for just two people to manage everything. The angel could only resign herself to it. She had been there less than a day and was already being turned into a laborer. After a whole afternoon of work, all the crops were finally harvested. Watching the two use magic to clean the mud off themselves, Jack felt truly envious. Back inside the cabin, the angel tasted strawberries for the first time. She thought to herself that this self-sufficient life wasn't so bad after all. But Jenny immediately seized the opportunity to tease her.
決まりね。一緒に住んでくれるわよね。ね、お願いよ。私一人じゃ体が持たないのよ。はい？どういうことですか？
After the two women moved in, Jack's quality of life kept improving. He no longer had to do things like carry lumber by himself. But soon a new problem arose. Shadow and Snowy's puppies had started having litters of their own, and the old house was quickly becoming too crowded. So Jack came up with an idea. He built a kennel right next to the orchard. After they moved in, the dogs seemed quite happy. In comparison, the spider's children were completely different. They didn't need any care from Jack at all. Once they grew up, they became incredible.